is that one lie about money that people still believe today?
You're brought up in the world, right, that the only sensible way, or the only way that you can transfer money is you go up to a remittance house or you go to the bank and say that this is how I send money to the... Firstly, is habit, right? Secondly, you are not open up to new areas of growth and new areas that you can do that much quicker. And thirdly, is structural, right? There are a lot of structural impediments. Even today, the way financial institutions are engineered, they're structured in a certain fashion, right? In the front office, there's middle office, there's back office. Middle and back office do certain functions. They have to go through reconciliation. They have to go through accounting, settlement, right? But if another competing bank come through, or another big bank, to say that, look, I'm going to do middle and back office very different. I'm not going to do reconciliation because I don't have to. Once we blockchain technology, everything is immutable. So reconciliation become irrelevant, right? So once all those structural changes come through, both in terms of the financial institutions itself, but in terms of financial landscape, right? So with stablecoin coming through and growing so rapidly, with real assets, tokenization coming through, so even the SWIFT of the world are forced to look at it and say, hey, look, we're going to support blockchain, right? So it's also habit and it's also literacy and awareness. But once a lot of all these things come true, then people realize through media, through education, through your friends to say, instead of paying 6 to 7%, you can pay 0.1%. Isn't this much more superior? But that change, especially depending on demographics, may come through differently. So if you talk about to a person 20 to 30 years old, digitally savvy, right? Using mobile most of the time, they know how it works. They'll be the first embracer of this, definitely. And then if you go up the age group in the value chain, those change will take a slightly more time, right, for them to embrace it. But it will come true because technology will come through. It's just like initially when internet came through, did the embracement take place overnight? No, right? It'll take a period of time. It'll take for mobile penetration, internet penetration to take place. So that penetration will take place. So it's a matter of speed.
Let's say if you had $100.
Yes.
And you can only put in banks, governments, or technology companies for the future who can either bring change and actually end up giving you a lot of power, compounding, or whatever you want to put it.
And you're saying that $100 is from a private investor, or
like from a private investor, just you?
You cannot afford to put $100 in the government. Government has its own funding and has its own mechanism, right? There's no way that you can put
Let's say all three of you had one stock and equally priced $100. Which one do you think will give you maximum return on the scale of power, not in scale of actually money?
I would say that in the first instance, it's always about the technology, right? Without the technology, without showing the world the capabilities, right, the rest may not follow, right? So, like it or not, regulations is always half a step, one and half steps behind, because the regulations can never keep up with changes and the new technological advances. So it's very, very important that we place, the emphasis on technology, on the use case, on the utility. How do we transform the world? Same that you're seeing in AI. I mean, the regulations don't come in first, right? Same that you're seeing in quantum computing, etc. Because you have to prove that this has the ability to take root, this has the ability to transform and present a much better use case than what is the current state, right? Without that, the government doesn't know what it's looking at, right? The financial institutions are not understanding what it's going to look at. So I would say in the first instance, it's always the technology. The technology is the most important part. You have to show what is the future state, what is the use case, what's the utility, right? How do you bring about the development? How is it a technology that can bring about betterment for the people, right? So those are extremely important. then the government and the institutions will